I have never punched my son. I've never bruised him. I've never broken a bone. But I have disciplined my child to know right from wrong because as a parent, that's what you're supposed to do. And a lot of parents want to think, oh, he's my child, and there's no corrective attitude that you need to give them when they do right or wrong. So if you had a child that walked through Walmart and stole something, are you going to correct that child or let the police correct him?
I'm not gonna beat my kid. Sorry. I'm not putting my hands on my kid.
That's where you fail your kid.
Yeah, no, it's already been statistically proven that children who get spanked as a child are more likely to become criminals, actually. So
Actually,
just
yeah,
because
100%. Prove to me where your statistic is.
cute.
Cute.
Love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I sure would. Send it to my email. You want it? Or does it your live
email?
Or does
Can
it
I not
attention to your live?
can I not just tell you what the study is and then you look it up?
Well, whatever makes you look professional on your life, because I know
Well, no,
you're
I don't want you to dox yourself by telling me
I'm
your
not
email
doxing myself.
online.
Sweetie, I was born in 82. I was beaten and disciplined as a kid. I know the difference between abuse and discipline.
No, that's not what dox means.
Well,
I don't want you to give out your personal information in front of damn near 300 people. People are
it's an
scary.
email. I'm not giving out my address or my phone number. It's an email. Anybody can
If someone has your, you know what?
Well, I'm not scared.
Oh, that's your choice. Sure, please tell the world your email. That's a
Well,
idea.
whoever, excuse me for saying this, whoever Fred Thug is, he's a moron. Tells me I have some problems because I believe in disciplining my children so they don't go out there and.
I think he might have gotten a phone call. Chris, you there? You there, Chris?
That's the reason why a lot of y'all. I just got muted. I had to turn my microphone back on.
You muted yourself.
No, I didn't mute myself. I can't do that. You have to mute me for not everybody to listen.
My hands are over here.
Well, obviously you're doing something on the computer.
You told me to get the stat, so I'm pulling up the stat.
Yeah.
My hands are on my laptop. How would I have muted you?
You're the host. I cannot mute. I cannot mute myself.
My hands are my hands are over here.
How do I show my picture so where you can see who you're talking to, not just a voice?
You press yourself and then you press the camera button and then you press save.
Let me try that. It'd probably be a better conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to make myself feel stupid right now to help you.
Thank you, I guess.
Oh, there we go. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, it's loading, I think. Maybe not. I don't know.
Lord have mercy.
Oh, there we go. Now you can see me. How are you?
I've been better.
No, everybody else can too. Oh, let me put my shades on. Now, do I look cooler?
I'm not turning around. Okay.
Spanking is not abuse.
That's definitely an opinion you're allowed to have.
Oh, it's a fact that I know of, not an opinion.
That's not a fact.
It is a fact.
Okay, so you can look up
Are you a mom?
the case. No,
Are you a
you
mom?
can no, you can look up the case against spanking. This is from the American Psychological Association.
Are
Oh,
you a mom?
no.
Then why are you speaking on discipline of a kid if you're not a parent?
I've been a child who's been abused. I
Me
think abuse
too.
is bad.
Me too.
You sure?
Yeah. Have you
It
ever
doesn't
been
seem
punched?
like it.
Have you ever had your nose broke? Your ribs cracked? You've been thrown across
No,
the room?
no,
And you call yourself abused because why? Your parents didn't want to raise you? Are you
no,
adopted?
no,
Were you given up for adoption?
no.
So you weren't given up for adoption.
Are you playing Oppression Olympics with me right now, Chris?
No, I'm asking you simple questions. Are you a parent?
I already said no twice.
Okay, so how can you say that spanking's an abuse when you really wouldn't know how you would be around a 3, 4, or 5-year-old that's throwing a fit?
I basically raised my little sister.
Basically, what's that mean?
I'd still never hit
Oh,
her
you had
because
help.
we had a mom, or I guess have technically, but she's psychologically and emotionally abusive. So I did a lot of the work.
Been there. My dad was the same thing.
Okay.
My mom did the
Are
same
we?
thing, and then no, we're in agreement on part of it. But what I'm getting at is you're going off your past, but you have no
No,
kids.
I'm not. That's not what I'm going.
Yes, you are.
I don't
You're
take.
taking your past and saying because of
No.
what you went through
You
and
asked
made that
me a
comment.
question about why I do the live. I don't think spanking is abuse because I was spanked. I talk about abuse because I've been abused, and I think abuse of all kinds is bad, even though I personally was not physically abused. I think children deserve to be protected, and that research shows that spanking leads to anxiety, depression, criminality, hurting other people when you get older.
Okay.
And because of that, I think that spanking is considered abuse, especially because abuse is defined as cruelty or violence against someone, especially repeatedly. That would spanking would fall under that category, whether it's for disciplinary reasons or not.
No, it
Doesn't
wouldn't.
matter. Yeah, it would.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
If I walked up and I smacked you, you'd want me to face charges or get a disciplinary action against me for hitting you, correct?
Uh huh.
That's a thing of discipline. Discipline is not abuse.
What's a thing of
Spanking is
discipline?
a
You
form.
know you can still go to jail for spanking your kids, right?
No,
Like if
you
that's your
can't.
argument.
Absolutely.
You can't.
Let
What do you
me,
mean you
without giving
can't?
out too many, first and foremost, what state do you live in? Without giving out any more information, what state do you live in?
New
I live in,
Jersey?
you're in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Actually, there is no law in the statutes of New Jersey, even California, New York, that says you can go to jail for spanking your kid. Georgia, same way. Florida, Idaho, many others. There is no statutes saying that spankings will take you to jail.
Spanking isn't strictly illegal, but New Jersey parents have the right to discipline their children with a certain tolerance. However, spanking and other forms of corporal punishment can be considered abuse.
Yes, corporal. Do you know what corporal punishment is?
Yes.
Corporal punishment is a form of hitting, choking.
Do you know what spanking is? Do you want me to pull up the definition of spanking for you?
Spanking is someone that wants to discipline, and they give it
No.
into. Yes,
Don't tell me that spanking
it
is a form of discipline. Define the word
is.
spanking. What does the word spanking mean?
How about you look it up and see if it's in the Webster's dictionary of what this country is founded on?
This country is not founded on Webster's dictionary.
Yes, ma'am, it is 100%.
Okay.
Just like the Constitution of the United States.
That's definitely, again, an opinion that you're allowed to have.
The Constitution of the United States is not an opinion, ma'am.
Not the Constitution. I'm talking about the Webster's dictionary stuff.
That's actually another fact. That's what 90% of this country doesn't want to read on because you don't understand the meaning of a word.
So this says an act
That's
of
the reason why
slapping.
a lot of people say.
So this says an act of slapping, especially on the buttocks, as a punishment for children. So then when you look at what slapping means,
Simply that.
hit or strike with the palm of the hand or a flat object. This is from Oxford Languages.
That's not a state statute of what I asked you to look up. You're looking up you are looking up a definition through the internet to define the term of spanking and not the state statute or Webster's dictionary.
Okay, so specifically Webster's dictionary. Okay. Cute.
Yeah, look up your statutes because you're looking up information to define what your argument is. And it is
I'm not defining my argument. You asked me to look up what spanking means.
You're looking up something to define what you're hosting in the back of your thing or whatever you're doing. Your arguments are void.
Dude, you're arguing with Oxford Dictionary right now, but I'll look it up just for you on specifically.
You never. Oxford
Webster.
Dictionary is a joke. It's like there was Wikipedia. Wikipedia.
How's that the case?
Wikipedia, you can change that. You can change Google if you know how to.
You think you can just change Oxford definitions?
You can.
How?
By going in, adding something, by joining in and logging in, being a member like you do everything else.
You cannot You cannot create and upload definitions by having an Oxford account. That's not how that works.
When you look up something that has true meaning other than something to define your argument, I'll be waiting. My email is speedy1, one word, the number 122 @gmail.com.
I am not remembering all that.
You want me to spell it out? SPEEDYONE, the number 122 @gmail.com.
Okay, so spank. Oh, thank you for the $10, Jacob. Thank you for the $10, Jacob. But just so we can look, for Merriam-Webster, it says spank is to strike, especially on the buttocks with an open hand. So let's look up what strike also means on Merriam-Webster. We have to aim and usually deliver a blow, stroke, or thrust, as with the hand, a weapon, or a tool. We also have to come into contact forcefully. Let's see. To engage in battle. Cute, fun, and fresh. To strike at, i.e. hit. We have inflict. This is as a transitive verb. We have a hit. We have inflict. Let's see. To attack or seize with a sharp blow. To penetrate painfully or pierce. Yeah, I think that about covers it. I fear that about covers it. I think so.
Hello.
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 19.
What year were you born?
2005.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
No, I do not.
Why is that?
Because if you really look at it at a way, well, it depends on if you're slapping them on the wrist, but if you're repeatedly abusing them, then I do. If you're repeatedly spanking them over the tiniest, smallest things, didn't finish their homework, didn't clean up their room, I feel like that is abuse.
Okay, so how are you to decide what is and is not a small thing?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're saying that, oh, it's not abuse as long as you're not spanking them over something small. But who's to decide what is and is not a small thing? Like you're saying, as long as they deserve it, it's not abuse. Which is
Well,
definitely an interesting take.
the way I grew up, around the environment I grew up, it's the type of stuff that they do. Well, I've been spanked multiple times, but I know when I get older and when I have my children, I'm not going to spank them. I do think just because you got spanked by your parents does not mean you need to pass it through your bloodline and spank your kids. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I agree with you, but then it sounds like you do think it's abuse, or at the very least not something you should do to your kids.
Well, if you spank them, as I said, if you spank them repeatedly, it's gonna show when they go to school, and that's how you get CPS called on them. Just like how that last person said, how if he walked up to you and hit you, then you're gonna call the cops. Well, of course, because I'm not gonna let a strange man walk up to hit me and get away with it. No, I'm gonna call the cops. And it's just the same thing. Just because you birthed me and you're my guardian doesn't mean that you can spank me. I just don't get that.
Wait. Do you think it's abuse or no?
On certain cases, but mostly I do think it is abuse because people.
Oh, okay. I agree with you. I thought you were in opposition.
Oh no, but I do think spanking is abuse, but I've seen cases that people take quote unquote spanking too far. Spanking is different types of things. It can be slapping somebody on their bottom as a little discipline, but I don't get what is you smacking somebody on the wrist or smacking them on their bottom gonna discipline them? I don't get
I
it.
completely agree. I am only looking for opposition though, so while I appreciate your presence and also, period, very intelligent of you, I'm gonna move on to the next guest. But I hope you enjoy the
Okay,
rest of your
thank you
evening,
for
my
having
love.
me on here.
Of course.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day.
You too. Alright. The spanking topic is bringing out a lot of people who think it's okay to abuse their kids. That's crazy work. Also, y'all, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal is in the bio. Follow me if you fuck with me.
Hello,
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 32. What
Okay.
about you?
I'm 20. Do you think spanking is abuse?
It depends on the sexual energy, but on kids, I would say if they done bad, maybe they should take a slap in the ass, but
Oh, that's...
not don't hit kids. Just talk right.
Okay, so you said don't hit kids, but a spank is a kind of hit, so I'm confused.
No, yeah, who spank their kids?
Some parents spank their kids?
Yeah, some parents fucking shouldn't have kids.
Okay, so then you do think spanking is abuse.
It can be abuse, but it's not the topic.
That is the topic. If you think it is or not.
It is the topic. I like you piercing in the nose.
Thank you. So like, Is it abuse? Is it not abuse?
We can't generalize.
We can.
No, if there's underage, I would just say no. Yeah, but I spanked a
Oh
woman
wait, so if it's
one
a
time.
child, it's abuse.
Yeah.
If you want to spank your partner with consent, period. All for it. Matter of fact, as a pleasure dom, do it. But that is not the kind of spanking I'm talking about. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
What is the spanking then?
I'm talking about spanking children as a form of discipline. Not like
okay.
not like kinky spanking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some kids need spanking.
No, but you just said, bro, you literally just said, why though? Bestie, why? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, how old are you?
20,
Okay, what year were you born?
2004.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
I think it depends on the situation, rather. It can depend on how it's done or how far it's been taken.
Elaborate?
If the child does anything to put themselves in a dangerous situation, especially if they've been warned, I do think to a certain extent spanking is allowed, as it would, even if it's out of fear, push them not to do it a second time, especially if talking doesn't work.
Okay, so in the event that a child might hurt themselves, you hurt them.
It not to the point where it scars them necessarily, and it doesn't need to be any permanent injuries.
Oh, okay.
But I do
so
think
if
a
your
light
kid doesn't
tap.
bruise very easily. I mean, like it's a free for all.
True, I guess depending on how much force is used. I'm nothing excessive, nothing lasting. A little pain, I guess. I know how weirdly that sounds, or maybe it's just a cultural norm. I do think to a certain extent, it's a small amount might be fine. For serious and extreme cases, maybe. But I still think it's not something that should be resorted to as a first method, more of a last resort.
Okay, so in the event spanking doesn't work, what do? Do you just escalate the violence?
Well, no. If spanking doesn't work as a last resort, you have no choice but to continue to talk, I guess.
Okay, so instead of just like taking them to a therapist or trying to do a little bit more talking, maybe changing the way that you do it, or maybe asking for guidance, you hit them. And then if that still doesn't work, your child just incurred more pain than necessary just to go right back to the talking.
Fair enough.
That's kind of fucked, bestie. That's a little fucked.
Huh.
It sounds like the gears are turning. Thoughts? I can hear each cog individually moving.
I can't deny that.
Okay. Well, do you have anything left for us?
No, you made a fair enough point.
Why, thank you. Well, then I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
I wish you the same.
Bye-bye. All right. Moving on to the next guest.
Hi,
Hi. How old are you?
I'm 19,
What year were you born?
2005,
What month?
June. I said June.
What year did you graduate high school? Diabolical work. Moving on to the next guest. Also, again, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal are in my bio. Also, follow me if you fuck with me. Also, please hop in the guest quest if you think spanking is not abuse. Hello? Hi, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
March 2006.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
Yeah, I agree with what you said about doing it only once and then take it to a therapy, force them to go to the gym, which calms them down and makes them a better person or something like that. But if they don't have any, like, if they're living in like a, you know, when those homes are living in like a, some like forest or I don't know where, like in the middle of fucking wasteland. You know what I'm talking about?
Like
And then
when
the
people
parents-
live in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, like like a wasteland, in the wasteland or something.
A wasteland?
Yeah, those like deserts or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, and they don't have anything like to help their children. They don't have like any buildings or therapy or something like that.
Yeah.
Then how would they raise their children?
Well, there are different parenting techniques that you can try and deploy. You could be showing them examples of what they should or should not be doing. You could try restricting their access to certain privileges or toys. But I feel like if it's to the point where your child is literally not responding to any kind of parenting and your only resort is to beat the fuck out of your kid, then even if you do live out in the middle of nowhere, it's your responsibility as a parent who decided to have a child to try and find that child some help. Otherwise, they're just going to be suffering.
It still is abusive, but I was just saying, that was just a thought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so you do think it's abuse?
Yeah.
Purr! I'm only looking for ops, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My mom tried to take me for therapy, and then it
Thank you for the heart me.
My mom tried to took me from therapy when I was like sort of like 7 years old. Had my own therapist. Had like a therapy school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then like after that, that was just awful. I couldn't talk.
One second.
I was very sensitive. I couldn't talk. I didn't want to say my feelings and everything like that. What happened in school? So yeah, since like I'm 18 years old, I'm going to the gym. I work out every day. It's very much like helped me a lot. You know, my parents just raised me.
Oh, purr. I'm happy for you.
They spank me a lot, but they take me to somewhere to help me. They weren't abusive.
That's, you know, that's a gray area. I'm not going to touch it. But thank you for coming up.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Going on to the next guest. Y'all make sure we're tapping that screen. Thank you for the team bracelet, Taylor. Hello?
Hi.
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 How old are you?
I actually just turned 18 today.
What year were you born?
2006,
What month?
March.
And what year did you graduate high school?
I actually kind of like dropped.
You was a liar. You was a liar. Crazy work to be a liar about your age. Crazy. Hello? Hi. How
Hi,
old
I'm
are you?
sorry. I'm not sure if you could hear me. I'm losing my voice. But
Oh, yeah, no worries.
I agree, but I also disagree, kind of. Like, if you're
Wait,
hitting
hold
them
on.
for no...
How old are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I am 21. I was born in 2003. I graduated high school in 2022.
Period. Please continue.
I'm so sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, so it depends. Like, if you're hitting your kid for no absolute reason, then yes, you are a fucking monster and that is abuse. But now, if you do something like I'm going to give you an example because I have worked in daycares where there was this one student, he would hit kids every day, and we had asked the parents to please discipline him. And like, this kid had picked up one of those, like, you know, those bubble blower lawnmowers?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he had picked up one of those and he had hit a kid in the head. And like, we have tried everything to get this kid to stop hitting people.
Okay. So you're saying that if this person got spanked, then maybe they would behave better?
Yes, this kid did get spanked, and the very like next week he had straightened up his whole entire attitude.
Okay.
But like I said, if you just do it to like hit them, then no, that's abuse. But if it's for discipline, then no, it's not.
Okay. So I feel like right now we're conflating what changes a child's attitude and what doesn't, with what is and is not abuse. I feel like just because spanking ended up working for this child does not make it not abuse.
Yeah, true. Kinda.
Well, why do you say kinda?
Because, well, I know that some kids, if they get spanked, that will strain up their attitude saying, don't do this, because like, you could tell the kid, don't do this and don't do this plenty of times. But until you set the ground rule that, hey, if you do this, there will be discipline actions that would come.
Well, yeah, but that, again, that doesn't mean it's not abusive. Like, as mentioned previously, abuse is just defined as violence or cruelty against someone, a person or an animal, typically repeatedly or multiple times. Spanking would count as violence.
Probably. Depends on what happens. Because, like, I used to be abused by my parents, but it was for no reason.
Well, yeah, but then you're just saying it's not abuse as long as the person has a good reason to do it. Which is a very slippery slope. Because you wouldn't say that about an adult, would you?
Well, adults really have a choice to get out, but as a kid, you really can't get out if you're getting abused.
Well, yeah, but even then, like, as an adult, depending on the kind of abuse, like, you might be psychologically broken and unable to find a way out. You could be a restricted access from your family and have basically no way of communicating with the outside world. Abuse is capable, it's capable for anyone of any age to be abused. And if someone wasn't doing what you want them to do when you were like 20 or 30, you wouldn't say that it's fine to smack them on the ass until they do what you want, would you?
Well, no, I want to say that's okay, but like, I'm saying, like, it's that one time thing that, like, if you keep on messing up repeatedly after we done told you, please do not do that. Because, like, with my kid, even, I'll give him plenty of times to straighten up. I'll be like, can you please not do that? Like, I give mine a total of 10 chances. If you don't listen on the 11th chance, then you're getting a whooping.
Oh, okay. Again, I don't really see how this makes it not abuse. Like, you're just saying it works. But that doesn't make it not abusive.
Well, like, if you're just doing it, like, it depends. Because, like, I know people who would do that shit with a belt. And, like, I used to get hit with a belt. I got hit with hangers, everything. But I just, like, for my kid, we just take a hand and just go. Like, we don't slap the fuck out of him, but, like, we'll just spank him, that's all.
Okay. So what makes that not abuse?
Because whenever he was doing, like, we had a sleepover here the other day, and he decided to go out with the little kid who he was here with, and he started throwing rocks at the neighbor's house. And the neighbor has a little kid who has autism. So this kid couldn't go outside at all. And they have a pool in their backyard.
Okay.
And that right there did call for discipline actions.
No, yeah, I'm not saying don't discipline your kid. But again, you're not really telling me why it's not abuse. You're just saying, like, it doesn't really matter whether it is or not, as long as you're getting your kid to do what you want them to do.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but it's not abuse because, like I said, it's more of a discipline thing, showing that if you show them that you will do this, if they do not listen, then that should send them into, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this because this is my consequences.
Well, yeah, but discipline can be abusive. Like, they're not mutually exclusive. You can discipline your kid in an abusive way.
Depending on, like, how horrible of a parent you are. Like, if you are one of those parents who just hit your kids for no reason, like if they do one bad thing, then yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is gonna go anywhere, because we're kind of just talking in circles. But I appreciate you coming up.
Thank you, love.
Bye-bye.
Bye, love.
Alright, moving on to the next guest.
Hi.
Hey. How are you doing on this fine evening?
I'm doing pretty alright. How about you, beautiful?
I'm okay, thank you for asking. What's up?
I just wanted to say to that spooky person and to like anyone else who thinks that way, good reason or not to like spank your child, to discipline them, it is still abuse because you are scaring them into submission.
Yep.
They do something wrong, you hit them in whatever way, doesn't even matter if it's that hard, they get scared, they're like, oh no, if I do that again, I'm gonna get hit again. So like it's
not like their behavior is even changing because they understand what they're doing and why it's wrong. They stop misbehaving because they're scared of getting their ass kicked. Like you're not teaching your child anything.
Yeah, exactly. You're not teaching them anything, you're just scaring them, if anything, really. And it angers me. But
Quite.
The world is the way the world is, I guess.
Unfortunately so. But thank you for coming up, my love.
Thank you for bringing me up. I hope you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, you too, darling. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alright, y'all. Moving on to the next guest. Oh no. Something tells me this isn't gonna go well. Hello?
Yeah, so I'm 31 from the UK, and I would technically agree with spanking to a certain extent, but if I give you like how it went with me, and I think that me and my brother benefited it from the best way possible. So when we were younger, we'd get hit, across the bottom or whatever if we were bad. And if we continued to not listen, what we'd actually get done. Some might laugh at this or call it child abuse or whatever, I don't know, but we actually used to get we used to get, like, we were told to stay in the same room as each other. We weren't allowed out till we had like made up and stopped fighting. And essentially we were like, even if we were fighting, if that was the reason that like there was that all the argument was about, would be like, not locked in there, but we wouldn't be allowed out of the bedroom. And we'd be just sitting there on the floor or on the bed or whatever, and we'd just eventually end up chatting with each other. And like we're both 31 now because we're twins, and like I think it's benefited us because me and my brother, we live together now. We share the same bank account.
Wait. Okay. With the utmost respect, how is this related to the top?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But that's what would happen to us if spanking didn't work. But I think that personally, I think that it's not abuse; it's a way of discipline.
Okay, so you don't think spanking is abuse?
No.
Okay, why is that?
Well, if a kid misbehaves, then they need to be disciplined some way, and I don't think talking is the answer.
Why not?
Well, because if they're not going to listen to you, then they're not going to listen to anyone else either.
Okay, so if you spank them and that doesn't work,
I do, to be honest with you, I do to my kids. I haven't got any kids yet, but when I do, I would do what was done to me. I'd keep them in the room and I'd let them talk it out amongst each other.
well, no, this is if you have an issue specifically with your sibling. But if your child is, quote, misbehaving in some other way, then what?
Well, like, if this is going to sound bad, but I think this is just the way I think it is. If you spank them and they're still not listening, and you're not going to do what was done to me in my childhood, then you just need to spank them again.
So, if spanking didn't work the first time,
Yeah, then hit them harder.
hit them harder.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, if that doesn't work, do you just keep escalating how hard you hit them?
Well, no, to a limit. Obviously, then you stop.
Okay, but what is the supposed limit?
I'd say maybe 2 or 3 times.
Okay, so you keep escalating the pain that you're inflicting on your kid until you hit like the 3rd or 4th ranking of pain?
I'm not saying up the pressure. I'm just saying do it
You
again.
just said hit them harder.
Well, you're not going to be able to measure the exact amount of pain that you enforced the first time.
Well, you probably can, depending on, say, how much your child is screaming or begging you to stop, maybe?
No, like, I think that a lot of people these days, they exaggerate the word abuse.
Abuse is violence or cruelty against someone, a person or animal, usually repeatedly. How does one exaggerate that?
Sorry, say that again? Just didn't hear you there.
It's violence against someone, a person or animal, typically repeatedly. How does one exaggerate that?
Well, when you look at the perspective of things, like most people my age, I don't know how old you are, but my age anyway, a lot of the kids who grew up with the punishment of being spanked, they are way more, like, there's less crime rates, for example. They're much more mannered as an adult human.
They have a can I have a source that says kids that were spanked have a lower likelihood of committing crime?
I'm gonna need to leave this.
That's okay. You can teacup. It's fine.
I'll be back to you in a couple of minutes. I'll save your name here.
Lovely. I'm excited to see that. Quite. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi, how old are you?
I am 32 years old.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
I do not. I believe in discipline. I can give you an example. I am a father. I have a 10-year-old. Whenever he was in elementary school, or he still is, but when he was in 1st grade, I believe it was, he was acting out really bad. He would have a behavioral chart, and it would be green. It was the good color, and then it was like yellow, blue, red. He got in trouble, right? So every day he would bring home a bad color. And so I sat him down and I told him, I said, look, you need to start bringing home greens. No more talking back to the teacher. Show your manners. Be a good boy. And my wife was saying, oh, maybe he has ADHD. Maybe we should take him to the doctor. Maybe he needs medication. Maybe this, and that. And I was like, well, let's just see. So I sat him down and I talked to him. I said, if you don't bring home a green because you were being good, you're going to get a spanking. And so he goes to school, and that day he threw scissors at a little girl and cut her in the face. So what I did when he got home is I sat him down and I told him, I said, didn't I tell you that I was going to spank you if you didn't bring home a green? And he said, yes. And I said, okay, well then here it comes. And I had a belt. I hit him 3 times across the bottom and he cried and he cried. But guess what?
Could we please stop describing this? That's actually kind of unnerving. Could you just get to the point, please?
Okay, well, the point is, after that day, he brought home nothing but greens for months. I'm talking about green every single day. And he didn't need no medication. He didn't need no doctor or therapy or nothing.
Did you actually take him to the psychiatrist?
No, of course not. Why would I do that? He's a 6-year-old kid.
Because some kids have ADHD or autism and can get diagnosed at a very early age. Well, how would you know that if you didn't take him to get evaluated anywhere?
Because he's 10 years old and he's a well-mannered little boy and he's very respectful, well-mannered.
Do you think people with ADHD or autism cannot be all of those things?
And I know
they
he's
very
not.
well can be.
I know he's not because he's tested very high in his courses and he's, no disabilities.
Some of the smartest people in the world have ADHD and autism.
Okay, but he doesn't.
You have no idea whether or not he does. Pediatricians can't diagnose you with
that I take him
disabilities.
to every month. They would tell me if he had some signs of it, they would know. Yes, they're medical professionals.
A doctor is not a psychiatrist.
It doesn't matter. It's a doctor, PhD. They would know.
That's not at all how that works.
Okay, well, you're 20 years old. You know everything, right?
I've been to a psychiatrist and also a doctor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that.
I'm just saying that spanking is a useful tool when they're young to show them that you can't just go around throwing scissors at everybody. You can't just go around doing whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. That's not how the world works. If you do that as an adult, you're going to jail.
Right. They don't slap you on the ass as an adult, do they?
No, they punch you in the face and they break your nose.
Okay. So you're saying that spanking is okay because it works.
Well,
that is your argument.
It is effective, yes. It works, and it helps your kids to realize that they just can't do whatever they want to do.
So abuse is not abuse as long as it's effective.
Well, it's not abuse because you're doing it out of love for their benefit.
You know how many people during abuse cases have said that they abuse someone out of love?
No,
I'm doing this for you is such a common thing that criminals will say when they abuse their victims.
Okay, but it's not abuse. It's a spanking, abuse.
Yeah, I think a spanking is abuse. I'm asking you why this is not abuse, and the only reason you've given me so far is it works, which doesn't make it not abuse.
So it's not abuse because real abuse is when you use your hands, your fists, your feet. It's whenever you really, really try to hurt them. I did not really try to hurt my son. All I try to do is get it through his head that he needs to behave, that he can't do what he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants.
Okay,
abuse is way worse.
It's fine that you hit your kid as long as you don't want to hurt him too bad, but you want to hurt him a little bit, so it's not abuse, is your argument.
No, the way you say it, it's not right. No.
Why not?
Because the way you word it, the way you say it, it's like your mind's already made up and you don't want to even try.
Well, yeah, clearly my mind is already made up. I think spanking is abuse. But what is the point of spanking?
I already told you.
No, not the discipline part. When you spank someone, what are you doing? What does the word spanking mean?
Discipline.
No, not what is a synonym for spanking. I said, what is spanking? Describe the act of spanking.
Swatting them with the belt.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think swatting someone with a belt is trying to cause pain to them? Yes or no?
Yes, it's causing pain. That's what a spanking is. It's going to hurt. And you know
Okay.
what? You learn a valuable lesson from it.
So you are intentionally hurting your child
Yes.
to try to get them to do what you want them to do.
No, to function in society like a normal human.
So to try and get them to do what you want them to do. And it's not abuse because you think you have good justification for it, even though you admitted already that the point of a spanking is to hurt them so they'll act normal.
Yes, exactly.
And you think hurting someone to act normal is not abuse.
It's not abuse. I'm telling you, abuse is way worse. I was abused. My mother used to beat me with her bare hands.
Don't with the Trump, please.
No, okay. I'm just saying that's abuse. What I did with my son was discipline, teaching him a lesson, one good spanking when he was 6 years old. He is 10 years old now. I've never hit him a day in his life since that day. I've never had to. And I even had this talk with him the other day because he wrote down in class that he wanted to do something that, he shouldn't do. And he got in trouble for it. And I sat him down and I talked to him. I was like, do you remember the very last time that you went to the principal's office for doing something? He said, yes. I said, do I need to do that again? He said, no.
Oh my God. Please stop describing this. That this is actually very disturbing. Please
That's
stop.
because you're so soft. That's what's wrong with this generation. The whole generation.
Okay,
Everybody in this
you
thing
can
is...
spare me the generation of soft story, okay?
You
I've been
are.
abused too. I didn't ask.
Well,
didn't
you are
ask.
very soft. I think
Okay.
everybody in your
Well,
comments
thank you
is
for
soft.
letting me know. I did not ask though. Is the crazy thing
Okay.
about that is that I didn't
All
ask.
right.
Abuse is just violence against someone, a person or an animal, especially repeatedly. Spanking is violence. Thank you for the beating heart glow on. Fair enough, Jacob.
There. So it's for their benefit. That's all I'm saying. It's
That doesn't
not.
make it not abusive.
It's not abusive. It's like you don't understand the difference between spanking and abuse. There's a difference, a huge difference.
Oh, thank you for the $10, Gabrielle. Goodbye. Moving on to the next guest. The next guest.
Oh, hold on.
Hello. Hi, how old are you?
30.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
No.
Why is that?
I feel like it's based off intent. Plus, us, the people, we give words the meaning.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm sorry?
I know.
Okay.
You're saying that it depends on intent.
Yes.
Okay. So, if someone punches you with love, does that mean it's not abuse?
Well, if there's a lesson to be learned inside of it, yeah. Because I used to box, so this might not be the best analogy for me.
No, I mean like a civilian. In boxing, you're agreeing to being harmed.
Well, like a civilian punching you with love, and they have the intent of love. Yeah, there's going to have to be a conversation behind that.
Okay. So why is this hinged upon intent?
I'm sorry. What's your argument with that?
So why is this hinging upon intent?
Well, intent is always important with anything you do in life.
Well, yeah, but you said that that's what defines it as abuse or not. But if someone punches you in the face without your consent,
With the intent of love,
with the
yes.
intent of love, does that mean it's not abusive?
No.
No. So for victims of domestic violence that have been punched in the face by their partners, and their partners said that they did it because they love them, they
Now,
weren't
come on.
actually
This is
abused.
conflating. Now,
I'm
do you
not
really
compl-
think
I'm,
those
I'm asking
abuse?
you a question.
Well, now you're loading the question. Now you're saying an abusive spouse beat their wife and then said it was with the intent of love.
This person
Now
can
their actions
genuinely.
aren't matching up with their words. So no.
Yeah, when you spank your kid and you say you love them, I don't think
Do you have
hitting your
children?
kid.
Hold on.
No,
Do you have children? Okay, so
no.
you're trying to be an authority on something that you don't even experience at all. You're basically doing this based
You
off
mean
of what you read in the book.
abuse? You don't think I've
Yes.
experienced abuse?
No, you haven't
Is that your
experienced
argument?
rearing a child,
I've
ma'am.
experienced being a child
Okay.
who's been abused.
So you got abused and you're conflating spanking with abuse from your past. Two different
It's not a
things.
conflation. Also,
Yes,
I
it
wasn't
is.
spanked as a child. That's not the
You
kind
said
of
you got
abuse I'm
abused as a
talking
child,
about.
correct?
Not that kind of abuse. Emotional and mental abuse, not physical.
So what does that have to do with spanking? Not the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't say that it was. I said that I care about the topic because I've been abused. Not this kind of abuse, but abuse nonetheless. I don't think kids should be abused in any kind of way. I don't think anyone
Well,
should.
what I'm saying is I don't think you can speak on this topic because one, you don't have children. So two, all you can offer is what you read and what you studied.
Okay.
I just tried to fix my car based off thinking how I can fix it. And I ran into a problem that the people who were explaining it to me, I didn't have all the information. You can't speak and be an authority on this topic. You don't have children.
Okay. So
you don't know what
I'm
it's
still
like.
I'm still gonna speak on it anyway. But thank you for the
I'm just
input,
no,
I
all I'm
guess.
saying is you're not going to add any value to this topic and you're going to mislead people.
Oh, okay. So, like, do you have an argument, or is your argument just have child, so say? Because it's not really an argument. I hate to say it.
You muted me, damn it. No, I had a point. I'm saying you're grifting. You're just here to get money and you're not going to add anything to the community with this. You're muddling the pool.
Okay.
You can't offer anybody any value because you don't experience this, because you're not a parent. You're basing this off what you read.
Okay.
You can take me off if you're going to keep muting me.
That's not me, that's my mods.
Oh, man, they're childish. I'm trying to get some good points through. You're wasting these people time. And you're not an authority on this subject. So why are you speaking on it? I'm not going to speak about LGBTQ
I'm
matters
a person on
because
the
I'm not from
internet.
that world.
I don't think you have to be part of that.
You're a fool to speak on something
I don't think you have to
indefinitely
be. I don't think you have to be a part of the LGBTQ to advocate for LGBTQ rights. I think that's a very ignorant take.
No, it's not. If they're fighting for something.
Stop muting them.
All I'm saying is I can't be an authority on their world when I'm not from it and I have no experience to bring to the table. I'm just wasting people's time and I'm grifting. If I'm getting paid to advocate for something that I'm not well versed in, that's fucked up.
Okay. So, if spanking is hitting your child, and it's been proven that spanking your child leads to anxiety, depression, substance abuse, perpetuating violence in the future, then me telling people, hey, maybe don't spank your kids is grifting.
To find the correlation between these things is difficult because people run to these outs in life without being abused.
Yeah, no shit. Some people are abused
So what's
and
your
they don't
point is my
really
point.
incur.
No one's getting off this planet perfect.
So,
Bro, you can show so many examples of people who've
argument is
been.
that?
Yeah, you can show so many
one's
examples of people
perfect
who've
is your
been spanked who
argument?
haven't done these things. So what's your point?
Yeah, not everyone who's graped ends up incurring incredible trauma from it, but grape is still wrong, isn't it?
Now, these are two completely separate things. Yes. Who's going to approve of grape?
Some people do approve of grape.
Hey, man,
like
fuck
the
those
grapists.
people. I don't like them.
Yeah,
Excuse
and
my
fuck
language.
people who abuse their kids.
It's only abuse based on your perception. We as humans
that's
give
how
these things that
everything
perception.
works.
If
That
we
is how
culturally, as a
everything
society,
works.
move forward saying that spanking is not abuse, then we can't define it as such. We give it its prominence through the.
That's how
You get what I'm
every
saying.
word works. I already understand that.
So then what's your point?
My point is, spanking your kids causes
We've been
them
spanking
harm.
children since antiquity.
That doesn't make it okay.
That's when it goes back to intent.
We've also been treating women like shit since antiquity. Like,
And I'm glad
okay.
we're not doing that at the same level since back then. I'm glad we
Yeah,
made some
same.
progress.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not culturally acceptable to hit women when they talk out of turn, like it is to hit children when they talk out of turn.
Man, a lot of people give examples, and I don't want to bore you with it, so I'm not going to. But until you get a child, you won't understand this world.
That kids don't like being spanked and that spanking traumatizes them. I gotta wait till I have a kid and I hit them to have an experiment to see if it harms them, and then I can speak on the subject.
Oh man, you had a good example earlier. So would you say if your kid somehow has a knife in their hand, are you going to tell them to let it go? Or are you going to hit it out of their hand or try to grab it? Say if the only option you have at the moment is to smack it out of their hand. Is that abuse?
Well, no, but that's the gentlest means.
But you still just hit the kid to produce pain in them to drop the knife. Is that not abuse?
Right, but that's not for discipline. You're trying to mitigate another kind of harm that could lead to someone dying.
You just said anytime you try to cause physical pain to a kid, that's abuse. It's technically still the same thing.
But again, this is the gentlest means.
I
My
feel like
morals come from what does and does not cause unnecessary harm.
Now we're getting into the intent area, which is what I was talking about.
Well, no, this isn't
earlier.
necessarily about intent as far as like if you do it because you care, if you do it because of love, right? But abuse, specifically here, is just hitting your kid as a disciplinary measure. Now, if you're smacking a knife out of your kid's hand, you're not doing that because you're trying to teach them a lesson. You're trying to get a sharp object away from them. And if the only way to get the knife away from them is to tap their hand, then you're mitigating harm that's worse. Like, someone dying. In that case, tapping their hand one time to remove an object that could kill you or some other person is the gentlest means if talking is not working. But if you're spanking your kid as like a disciplinary measure, like what harm is being mitigated here? Like they're not turning in their homework, or like they spilled something. Like where's the harm at?
See,
and how is the spanking going to help?
Now, this is where I think you have to be a reasonable person and use your discernment. For the things that you just said, that's not something you're going to spank your kid for. There's different reasons why you spank their kids
for.
Yeah. This goes with intent. Like, come on now, bro. Like, are you really going to spank your kid because they didn't turn in a homework assignment?
Yes.
Well, hey, man, I can't speak on how other parents want to parent their kids.
Yes,
and
you
I don't
can.
know their home, and I don't know their child. So if that works for them, so be it.
What? Are you serious?
Are you not one of the same people who have the topic of kids should choose their own gender or something like that?
No.
Okay. Well,
kids should choose their own gender. I mean, I don't have a topic on that, but if a kid is trans, like, okay. Question mark?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with that. That's ridiculous that you think that.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if we can go anywhere else with this. I'm pretty much out of gas. That's how I feel about it. I don't think it's abuse.
Thank you for the $10, Jacob. Bye-bye. Moving on to the next guest. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. How old are you?
I'm 19.
What year were you born?
2005.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
No, I do not think spanking is abuse.
And why is that?
I'm pretty sure like you know the same logic I do, which is it's kind of disingenuous for you to say that, because I'm sure you already know what I'm about to say. But if you're trying to conflate people who's experienced literally getting punched in the face compared to someone getting a tap on the wrist, and basically using the idea that because it was intended to inflict harm, therefore it's abuse, I think you see how disingenuous it is.
It's disingenuous to say that parents who are causing harm on their children on purpose is abuse?
Nope, that's not what I just contended to. I contended that the fact you are trying to compare something extremely severe to something such as tapping on the wrist, because technically both are intended to inflict harm, right? By your logic.
When did I say anything about tapping someone on the wrist?
No, you said anything that is intended to inflict harm is abuse. That's what you said. I mean, do you want to re-say your definition of abuse?
Sure. Violence against someone, typically a child or an animal, especially repeatedly.
Yeah, and violence is what?
Violence is trying to cause someone pain.
Exactly. So I don't see where's the discourse.
Well, you said tap. Is this tap like one that's supposed to inflict pain, yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, a tap is going to inflict pain, yeah.
Okay, well, not necessarily. If I just go like this, it didn't hurt. I felt like a vibration, but I didn't feel pain. If we're just saying like a light tap where the child isn't being harmed, then I don't care. But when you're trying to inflict pain upon your child, yes, I think that's abuse. I don't see what's disingenuous about that.
Because I mean, I literally explained it many, many times, and you read the definition, that being a descriptive definition, when I'm sure you and I both know that abuse is a very connotative and prescriptive word that we don't necessarily use Merriam-Webster or Oxford English Dictionary to define in society.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we do, but I think it's a useful definition. That's why I use it.
Not at all when you're trying to make the point that spanking equals abuse.
Well, yeah. Abuse, usually, is when you're doing something to hurt someone, especially over and over again, even if we don't look at the definition, unless you think of abuse differently.
Okay, so when you're in kindergarten and Jimmy decides to knock you over because you didn't give him a pencil, are you now going to go back and tell the story of how you were abused in kindergarten?
Well, is he doing it over and over again? Because if so...
Wait, it doesn't matter. It's intended to inflict harm.
Yeah.
So you're going to sit down with your family and say, hey guys, want to hear a story about how I was abused in kindergarten?
Sure.
And you don't see anything incoherent about that?
No.
Okay, I mean, you just proved my point. You're being disingenuous intentionally.
I really don't see how saying that violence against a child being abused is disingenuous.
Because violence is anything that's intended to inflict harm.
Yeah,
Remember.
I think inflicting harm on people can be abusive.
And you think it's abuse?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine if you want to subjectively agree to that.
But also, I said spanking is abuse, and I did in fact say it's because it's violence, like intended violence against someone. But if we're talking about spanking specifically, why are we bringing up like a child push another child? Like again, I do think that could be abusive, but that's not the topic.
Of course it is, because you just gave this is something that you caused. You gave a very broad and misleading definition of abuse to further support your argument in a conversation of spanking. So this isn't something like I just brought out of nowhere.
Okay. Well, I do think that could be abusive. So, I mean, unless your argument is just, well, that's ridiculous, I don't see how we're going to proceed.
I mean, because you asked me how, I claimed that you were being disingenuous and you asked me how, and I was telling you. I mean, if you want to bring up another point to discuss, then we can.
So you're actually here to debate? I thought you were just coming up here to try and tell me what I should and shouldn't do. Because that's kind of what it's giving.
I just said another point to discuss.
Okay. Do you have one?
Sure. I mean, I think that spanking can be abusive, but I wouldn't call it spanking as you do. And here, I would literally just straight up call it abuse. You don't get it. Okay. So you walk in the door, right? Your parents don't say a single word to you. and they just start spanking you out of nowhere continuously for a very prolonged amount of time, and they still have yet to tell you the reason, I consider that as abuse. Because now we're actually adhering to the prescriptive definition of abuse, which is the correct one to use.
Okay. Can I have your definition?
Yeah, my definition is something that is extremely severe. It can be something that causes bruising. It can be something that causes immense violence, and not something as simple as spanking that you're trying to make it out to be.
Okay, so your definition is violence. It just has immense next to it?
Yeah, immense violence.
How do we measure what is and is not immense?
Well, I just said it could be, you could observe it by bruising. You could observe it by bodily harm.
So if you smack the shit out of someone and they don't bruise, it's not abuse?
It really would depend more on the context. I mean, that's a very broad thing to say.
Okay. So you're not in a fight. This person is smacking you to discipline you. You didn't bruise, so it's not abuse?
I would ask, why are they doing it? You're not, I mean,
discipline.
Discipline me how?
They're trying to teach you a lesson by smacking you.
Okay, teach me what lesson?
Let's see. They're trying to tell you that you shouldn't speak to people in a disrespectful manner. So you smack them.
Sure.
Okay.
But the reason I asked you to tell me what reason is because, for example, if I see a predator on the street and he's doing something weird to children and I just start beating the crap out of him, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I abused him.
Well, yeah, but again, this goes back to the gentlest means. If the only way you can mitigate someone's harm is by doing something that also causes harm, that's the gentlest means. You're stopping someone else's abuse.
Okay, so abuse is fine to mitigate something that's worse than abuse, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I consider that self-defense.
So there are situations where you would be content with abusing your child if they do that.
Well, what is the child doing? Because if the child is about to literally murder someone, and the only way to stop that is by aggressively moving them out of the way or hitting them or getting the weapon away from them, then yeah, you're mitigating harm.
Okay, so using your exact same rhetoric, you have a justification for abuse.
Mm-hmm. We're
Okay,
talking
then.
about spanking, though.
Spanking. Yeah, we just conceded that with your definition, that would also can be considered abuse.
In what world would a spanking be the gentlest means?
I just literally gave you a whole scenario. What do you mean? You gave me that scenario.
Stopping your child from murder is not a spanking. When would hitting your child on the ass stop a murder?
Well, I mean, you just said that you would do it in order to mitigate that.
I said moving them out of the way, or hitting a weapon out of their hand. Spanking? What is hitting your child on the ass gonna do to stop them from murdering someone?
You literally just said you have scenarios where you would justify abuse if it's to mitigate something, and you coincided that word with gentlest means.
Well, yeah, like I said, gentlest means is what mitigates harm. In this case, I wouldn't say that if you're mitigating harm, this would be abuse.
Yeah, that's just euphemism. That means you can't use the definition, the very broad, disingenuous definition that you're using. Do you not understand that?
So
Now you understand how your definition can be misleading.
I'm not saying my definition is perfect, right? I'm not claiming that. You're saying that my definition could use some work. I can take that criticism, but I don't see why calling me disingenuous is gonna help.
Okay, do you at least admit that by going on TikTok and putting spanking as abuse, you're doing it purely for engagement?
No.
So you're not putting the phrase spanking is abuse, even though we just conceded how misleading that phrase is. And you admitted that it could use criticism. You're still not conceding that you're doing it for engagement reasons.
If I was doing it for engagement reasons, I would say I was doing it for engagement reasons.
So why are you putting a misleading phrase?
Putting spanking as abuse, it's there because I think spanking is abuse. Now, typically spanking is a hit on the buttocks for disciplinary measures, right? I think that that is abuse. Now, if we take in the gentlest means into consideration, where you have to do something violent in order to stop something else violent, possibly something more violent from happening, then I wouldn't call that abuse.
Okay, but you still conflate being spanked on the butt with someone literally getting punched.
I guess it depends on how hard you want to spank them. Like if you're causing pain to your child by smacking them on the ass, you can cause a similar amount of pain with a punch. The punch is probably going to hurt worse.
It's definitely going to hurt worse.
Why is that definitely?
Because it's a punch. I mean, unless it's a senile old man or woman, it's a punch. You're punching your child to cause harm. It's more than likely going to lead to bruising, might even lead to bleeding. And you're trying to conflate that with children getting spanked on the butt because they're being bad as shit.
Yeah, spanking can also lead to bruising or bleeding. I don't know why we're acting like that's not possible.
Okay, well, I would just call that abuse.
Okay,
but spanking,
so causing the pain is fine if they don't bruise.
I already told you it's immense violence. I mean.
Oh, thank you for the $10, Brianna. Bye. Moving on to the next guest. Maybe I should put like a little asterisk and like put the gentlest means is in effect philosophically somewhere. Hello?
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Hey.
How old are you?
I am 30.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse? Thank you for the hand heart.
You know what? I feel like this is a very broad definition that we're being given here. And I don't, I mean, I can see how people abuse spanking, but at the end of the day, spanking is just corporal punishment.
Okay. So, do you have a suggestion for how I could better the definition, maybe?
I would think that spanking is abused would make more sense in the situation because there's a lot of parents out there that are spanking their children over things that are just, they don't need to be spanked for, and that's where it becomes abuse. But I mean, if I have a kid one day and that kid is just, let's say they're pooping on the carpet and they're 6 or 7 years old, after the fourth or fifth time of them doing it,
crazy work.
Yeah, I mean, after the fifth or sixth time of them doing that, I know the kid I brought into this world is not responding to me the way that they should be after talking to them. I'm gonna hit them in the butt, and they're probably gonna find the toilet.
Okay, but I feel like the ramifications of spanking aren't worth it.
I feel that way too, and I grew up in a household where I was never ever spanked. We didn't do that here, but I will tell you about a time when I was about 11 or 12 years old. The only time I was ever spanked really was after I messed up my dad's train set. I did some damage to his thing, and it caused like such a scene that my mom hit me like over and over again. So I did learn my lesson that way because, you know, my mom doesn't overreact. And when she does, I know she means business.
Right, but that's the thing. I don't think that saying that spanking works sometimes makes it not abusive, because there are other methods of causing harm to someone that can work sometimes and getting them to do what you want, but that doesn't mean that it's not abuse.
I don't know, because the word abuse can be defined like as so many things. So yeah, if it's going to cause somebody trauma, if it's going to damage them psychologically or permanently, like, and you're going to repeat doing that and it becomes a cycle of abuse, that's terrible. But if it's really just meant to correct or just like maybe like stop someone from, let's say, pooping on the carpet or something crazy like that, some crazy offense, then you know what? I feel like the ends justify the means on that.
Okay, but to say that like the intent is what would make it not abuse is
And
where
the
my
intent
contention
is
lies.
never to like hurt somebody. Like I feel like that's where we're also being misguided here, because the intent is really just to stop somebody from doing an action that is just belligerent or crazy. Like you're not trying to inflict pain, but like the intent is actually just to stop a behavior that's ludicrous. Like the man whooping his son before over the color cards from school, I thought that was pretty abusive. Like that's where spanking was abused. But I feel like no, like it's not just abuse. Like really at the end of the day, it's corporal punishment. It's a form of corporal punishment. You see that like we use it in society. If there's people in jail that are causing fights, we're going to lock them in a room. You know, if one of your siblings as a kid was ever beating up on the other one, they got locked in their room too. So it's like, it could be abuse, but I don't agree that it's strictly abuse.
Okay. You don't agree that it's strictly abuse. Okay. So you're saying it's not abuse if the parent is not doing it to abuse.
Sure. Yeah. They're not doing it to harm or change a person. They're really just trying to stop an action or a behavior. Like the example I gave with my parents. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I was abused by that, but they definitely made their point. You know, like if my kid is being defiant when I'm older and have a kid, and I, as a father, have to assert dominance to remind that kid that they have to respect me, then that's probably what's going to happen. I mean, I don't believe in spanking. Like, I don't think I'd ever have to do that. But, you know, at the end of the day, if the kid's just acting out horribly and nothing else seems to work, like maybe spanking will work. But I think at the end of the day, the parents are going to know what their kid will respond to.
But if
And yeah, I see
spanking
dominance
doesn't
was a
work-
trigger word, but I mean,
Yeah, I was also gonna bring that up.
yeah,
Oh,
I see the
that's-
comments. I know people don't like that I said that, but you know what I mean.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a way that makes sense. But if spanking doesn't work, then what?
Well, then you bring
Like, you
it to a
wouldn't
doctor.
just escalate the...
If they're not going to respond to us, like you're not going to hurt the child, but you know, if you're going to get frustrated with the kid and lose your shit and end up throwing things around and being crazy and creating domestic violence, then yeah, maybe a spanking is a de-escalation in that way. But I mean, yeah, you're right. If you can't de-escalate it at home and you need a medical professional, that's what happens. You have to go there. And I mean, that's what happened with me. Eventually, I had to go see a professional doctor to get this shit sorted out and figure out what was actually wrong with me. But, you know, yeah, my parents got the police involved on me as a child too. Like it escalates in that way.
Okay, so why take the risk of traumatizing your child if you can just take them to the psych in the first place?
Well, I feel like maybe some people don't understand, like not everybody has a psych issue. And like maybe it's just a learning experience for some people. But like I do agree with you that you really shouldn't spank your kids like as a way of control. But I mean, if it's gonna work at like a young age, like 7, 8 years old, to stop the kid from shitting on the carpet, like yeah, maybe that will stop something simple like that. But if you're going to routinely and excessively spank your kid, you're doing it wrong.
But like, okay, do you think it's okay to hit someone for not understanding something?
Absolutely not. But if your kid shows that they do understand something and they choose to defy you anyway, that's why I said that word dominance, because I would remind them that like you have to respect me. I brought you into this world. I know what's best for you. So maybe the kid does respond to that. Like some people, I guess, out there would respond to something like that. Like I did when I was 11, 12 years old and got hit. Like I learned, like I understood, I got the message, like that was wrong.
But if your kid's taking a shit on the carpet, you don't think that maybe there might be a little bit of an understanding issue? Like,
well,
like just a tad?
Yeah. I mean, if the kid is like really doing it because they have a problem, I think I'd understand that. But if I see the kid just being an asshole and just shitting on the couch, at that point, maybe I would spank my kid, because like you have to understand what you're doing is wrong. And if they don't understand what they're doing is wrong, then yeah, take them to a doctor. But if they do and they don't learn their lesson after the spanking, like I would assume that they would after that, because that's an extreme measure. And that's
You're not really teaching them anything. Like you're just telling them that doing this thing will result in you feeling pain. You're not really teaching them what they're doing is wrong or why. You're just saying, if you do this thing, then I'm gonna hurt you. I don't think that's really instilling a lesson. If you shit
on my couch, I'm going to use corporal punishment as a means to stop the behavior. Like I don't want to hurt you, but don't do that. And if you can't understand that it's wrong and you're going to continue to defy me, then maybe you do have a serious underlying issue. But I mean, that would be my instinct, I guess. I don't know. I can't really say that because I don't have kids, and I don't imagine if they shit on the carpet, I can't resolve it with a conversation. But
this
I could see how
is so fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. Kids just lifting their leg up real quick to take a quick dump on your couch is crazy.
Yeah,
work.
like just picture it. Like the kid is doing it over and over again. The first time it's funny. The second time you tell them knock it off, don't do that. Third time you have a very serious talk. Fourth time you lose your shit and scream, and they laugh in your face anyway and think it's a funny joke. And then, 5, 6, 7 times later.
No, but bestie, if your child is repeatedly taking shits on the couch, they
as
probably
a joke,
need
mind
help.
you. They're doing it just to get a rise out of you. Like kids can be assholes like that. You know that.
They can. Yes, they can. But when it comes to like
that's
defecating
where the
in public,
punishment comes in. That's where the spanking becomes corporal punishment and not abuse. Because at that point, you are showing the kid like this is stopping now. And if it doesn't, you're going to have to be drugged. Like you're going to a doctor, you're getting seen. Like it's becoming an actual documented issue at this point.
Right, but with the knowledge that spanking can lead to so many negative outcomes for your kid, just take them to the doctor first. Like why can't we skip the spanking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have kids, so I guess, I do see your point there. Like, yeah, just bring him to a doctor. My kid won't stop shitting on my carpet.
Yeah.
Like, it was a funny joke. It could have been kept inside the walls. I didn't want to hit him. So here we are, doctor. And the doctor is probably going to say, well, that's what kids do. Deal with it. You're a parent. You signed up for this.
Won't.
And at that point,
is not
you believe
normal.
me? They will. They're going to tell you right away, all right, this is not my problem. Thanks for the money. get out of here. The kids do that shit. You deal with it. You wanted to have a kid. That's the consequences. So yeah, if I hit the kid and the kid still shits and I've been to the doctor, then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let the kid shit. And he's going to grow up living in shit on the carpet or on the couch or whatever. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
The kid's going to be disrespectful to me.
Okay, but
and
if
just
the
shit after
hitting
I've told him not
doesn't
to.
work and they keep taking the shit, then what?
They'll grow out of it. That's what I expect. But I mean,
Okay,
they
so
might
then what are
stop
you
it.
hitting them for?
They might stop it a little bit sooner. I might save myself a few green machine cleanses if I just spanked him, showed him the authority figure in the house. I don't know why people use corporal punishment nowadays, but it does seem to work in certain extreme instances. I'm not saying that spanking is right, but I also think that it's not abuse. Like, I think it's abused by parents who are really not really fit to be parents. Okay. But I don't think that spanking can be defined as abuse. I think we need to expand the parameters here and just say, like, okay, spanking, like hitting your kids excessively is abuse. Yes.
Okay. So
I don't know.
So then what do you think is a good definition for abuse?
Improper use. Just
improper use.
Yeah, improper use of a spanking. Improper
So then
use.
how do you decide what is and is not proper?
I think the parent always knows their kid best. So I know when I have kids, a spanking may actually be proper and get them in line because I know what works for me. Like, I never had to be spanked because I was a perfect child. Like, I never did anything wrong. But when I did step out of line, like, my parents were able to communicate all the time with words. And the one time that they really weren't, and they had to show me that I was wrong in that situation that I told you earlier, the hitting got the message across. So if I know that a spanking is going to get the message across to my kid and it's for their best interests, I'll do it, you know, but obviously not to inflict pain and obviously not to actually hurt. Like, I don't want to hurt a child ever. Like, that's what's wrong. Yeah, I said perfect because I was so great.
A spanking is supposed to cause pain, though. Like, that's the part that's teaching them, is the pain.
Is it, though? Is it supposed to be painful? Because, like, maybe that's where we're seeing, like, not the same. Because hitting can hurt, but it doesn't have to be extremely painful. Like,
So
I don't know.
mildly painful.
It's not a love tap. Like, it's generally not inflicting. I don't know. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Well, but
there's
when
many
you
different
spank
hits you can get.
someone, like, what is the part that is telling the kid not to do it? It's the pain that they feel when you hit them.
It's the raw emotion. It's the action. It's like, it doesn't have to pain. It just has to frighten enough. You know what I mean? And yeah,
Through the
frightening a
pain.
kid. I disagree
How
because
do you spank a kid in order to discipline them without it? Like the pain is the point. Like, the discipline comes from, I'm hitting you and it feels bad and you don't like feeling bad, so don't do the same.
Let's say you're used to your parents acting that way and you see them lash out. Well, maybe some parents aren't like that. Maybe some parents don't actually scream and you've never witnessed them act that way before. So to see them act that erratic, that's the traumatizing part. That's getting the message across. That's why spanking is abused and it's not abuse. Like, people, I think nowadays are just starting to understand that if you're going to overuse anything, antibiotics, eventually it stops working. So if you really hold back emotions and you do have good communication with your kids, like, down the road, one action like that is going to get a message across. And I feel like that's the point. It doesn't have to be painful, but to hit your kid and not hurt them, it can be done. You don't have to hurt somebody by hitting them.
Okay, so what is a hit?
like exactly what we've been talking about, like an open palm, hand to body thing. Okay, it's like a slap.
Right.
Yeah. So have
But
you
a
never been
slap-
like slapped before where it didn't hurt? Like,
I've been like tapped where I just felt like the vibration and no pain.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just different. I don't know. Because
Like when you got spanked that one time, did you feel absolutely nothing?
I felt the vibration, but it wasn't a painful vibration. It was just an intense vibration. Like I was also 11, 12 years old. It wasn't something, like it. I feel like you can definitely get the message across without hurting your child. But even back to this, like spanking, hurting a child, it's not right. It's not good. Like I don't see how that works. But would you ever like full force hit a child who's maybe not even 10 years old? Like, I don't think that's what we're really supposed to do here. Like spanking is not supposed to be full on, full force hit. It's a spank. It's like somewhere between a love tap and
From my understanding, a spank is supposed to inflict pain. Like I've unfortunately watched people be spanked. Like the part that teaches them is the pain.
Well, watch the part of Step Brothers where the dad actually spanks his adult child. That to me is a proper spank. You know that part in Step Brothers, the movie?
No, but that sounds incredibly creepy.
You've never seen Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and the other funny guy?
I didn't get to see a lot of stuff growing up.
Okay, so that is spanking to me. It's not supposed to be painful. I know some people will disagree that, yeah, if you're spanking, you're supposed to inflict pain. But no, you're really not. That's not what you're doing with spanking. You're trying to correct the behavior. You're not trying to hurt your child. You're trying to...
Well, the behavior is being correct through hurting your child.
I think we have to agree to disagree on that one.
All right. Well, fair enough. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you for having me. You're doing great work.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All
Bye. Ooh. That was pleasant. Moving on to the next guest. Exactly, Buzzle. Exactly. Moving on to the next guest. Also, Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal is in the bio. Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. This person is not here. Y'all, please hop in guest quest. Thank you, Vale. If you think spanking is not abuse.
Hello?
Hello? Hi, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, wait 1 second. Y'all, should I do a nude lip or should I do a black lip? Okay, continue. Do you think spanking is abuse?
Not really. It just depends on how you do it.
Okay, elaborate?
For instance, if you just spank your child on the bottom regularly, and the thing is, when it comes to spanking, it's a level of ordinary force that is used, that is, acceptable by general society. But say if you're using like a extension cord or using something to cause malicious harm, that's where the issue is.
Okay. So it's not abuse if the general public accepts it.
No, of course not. That's not, how do I say this? It's accepted, because you're using, the way you're using definitions, I'm talking about under the law, the way that it's looked at.
Oh. If you spank your kids though, like, and CPS gets called on you, and it turns out that they're telling the truth, they'll probably get your kids taken away.
No, no. The way that CPS works is if, of course, you spank the child and there's a report or whatever, and they have to investigate the level of force that was used in correcting the action of the child. If they find that the level of action that was used was ordinary, it wasn't malicious or intended to cause, how do you say, definite injury or severe pain, then they say that's just regular child rearing and they'll leave.
Do you have a source for this?
Yes, yeah. I'm using the compiled statutes for my state.
Oh, interesting. Not that I'm defining spanking based off of legality, because I don't think legality and morality are the same thing. But I'm just intrigued. Where could I find this?
You can just Google Oklahoma Title 21, and it will tell you all the different statutes when it comes to child abuse.
Okay.
Yeah,
One second.
yeah. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's terrible," but it's like, yeah.
Let's see. Oklahoma Title. Oh, it's talking about property.
No, it's Title 21, and
Oh, Title 21. Thank you.
yes, yeah. There's different titles, Title 47, 63, and other ones deal with different things.
I did 31. That's on me.
No, you straight.
Let's see. Appeal bond. And misdemeanor. I can't find it. I will look into it, but
Okay.
regardless.
And I can speak from personal experience because my mother worked for CPS, and I work in the law field, so it's a totally different level when it comes to things.
Okay. So, hold on. I have to make sure that I get this right. Apologies.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, that's cunt. Oh, that's cunt as fuck. That's cunt as shit. Damn. Sorry, I'm feeling myself. Okay, so the thing about that is I don't get my morality from legality, right? That's not my thing. So I'm saying that spanking is abuse by virtue of hurting children, right?
Yeah.
Not because of the law.
Yeah.
So, law aside,
Yeah.
why is spanking not abuse?
Well, when you think about it, for instance, morally, I know you're using the term least, what's it called? Would you say least intrusive means? Whatever. I don't remember exactly the word you said.
Oh, gentlest means.
Yeah, the gentlest means. Well, of course, spanking in every situation, it's not going to work. And so, like, for instance, like whatever they say, like homework or whatever stuff like that, that's not going to work. But there's also times in a child's life that, of course, you say, "Oh, I grew up, I've been a child." Everybody's been a child. And children know when they act in ways where they feel themselves and they feel like, well, I'm going to do A, B, and C because I want to. And the reason why I say it's the least, the gentlest means, because when you look out in the world, it can be a whole lot worse. Because while spanking your child, you're not intending to cause irreparable harm to them in the world, somebody will cause irreparable harm to them or kill them. So that's the that's the scales you're dealing with. So it's only how much, how do I say this? You're weighing what you're willing to have happen to your child in the real world.
Okay, how would spanking your child prevent them from being like I don't know if I can say the word here, unalived in the future?
Unalive the way, because, like, for instance, growing up, there was always well, I guess children that were, how do you say, they acted in a ways because in aggressive or whatever ways because they felt like I never had to answer anybody, therefore nobody can do anything to stop my action. And when they grow up and they keep using the same attitude, they go into the real world, and unfortunately, somebody's not going to let that fly. Where they say something to them in a way that they don't like, or they do something. Now, am I saying the unaliving is right? No, of course not. But every action has a reaction, and you can't pick and choose which reaction you get.
Well, I'm not saying also to the person who suggested I put silver in my Cupid's bow. I hope you get your coochie eaten. I'm not saying not to discipline your child, right?
Yeah.
That's not at all what I'm saying. But why does the discipline being spanking, like why is that permissible?
It's permissible because it's just, of course, spanking isn't the first thing you would do, but it's just the reason why it's permissible. It's a corrective action that is not used to cause intense pain. It's more of like a snap in the face, like, hey, pay attention. You're not paying attention to what's going on. It's just to make them aware of the situation they're in.
Right, but regardless, it could still traumatize them and actually is likely to traumatize them. So, I mean, the intention...
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, I'm good.
Okay. I really don't think that, like, saying that you're spanking someone to prevent them from doing something that could get them, like, schmurdered in the future when the something is just, like, them misbehaving around the house. Like, I don't see the correlation.
I mean, of course, when you say misbehaving around the house, there's different levels to misbehaving. For them not cleaning up not cleaning up their room, them not going to bed at the proper time. Of course, there's different punishments for that. You take away their TV or you do something like that. But there are some things in life where corporal punishment is needed in order to get the child's attention, because corporal punishment is not meant to be something that is going to irreparably or maliciously harm the child. It's used as a way to get their attention.
Okay, so when you spank someone, what is the part that's teaching them? Is it not the pain?
The pain, no, how do I say this? Well, if it depends on how you're spanking your child. The way that I was spanked in the past was I was spanked and then I was sat down and talked to and explained just the reason why it happened and just basically what could how for it not to happen in the future.
Okay. But
and that's an important part of it.
The force behind the hit is supposed to be painful. Like at least a little bit painful. That's the part that's teaching them. Like it's the association between that pain and the action that stops them from doing the action.
No, but how do I say this? Because it's not malicious in the way that it's being done. So it's I don't know how to explain this correctly, but it's like the purpose of corporal punishment or spanking. It's not to be malicious in the way, like, because I'm reading some of the comments are saying, oh, well, it's what they say. Oh, you can talk to the, like, growing up, because I've worked in different fields. I work in the legal field. I've worked with children before, too. Some children, they don't respond to talking and things like that. You have to get their attention. And that just comes in various ways with how you choose to do that.
Okay, well, I'm not saying that when you spank your child, you're trying to do something evil, right? I don't think that people who spank their children are like these demonic, like evil entities. But what I'm saying is the action of hitting your child is causing them harm. And that harm can cause them to undergo so many different things: depression, anxiety, like substance abuse, inflicting pain onto other people because now they think that it's okay. Accepting abuse when they get older because they think that it's an adequate way of being disciplined or conditioned as an adult. Like all of these ramifications, I don't see how spanking wouldn't be abuse.
Well,
Like,
of course.
even if it's not malicious intent, you're still trying to harm your kid.
Yeah, well, of course, when you say that leads to, what's it called, substance abuse and what's it called, hitting up, but that's when it's not done properly. When you just take your kid, you spank them, and you just leave them alone or whatever. Of course, that could be a part of it, but when it's done correctly, you spank them and you inform them of the decision they're making and how the ramifications can affect them. That will likely not happen.
Okay. Do you have a source that says if you spank your child properly, then the effects are lessened?
Uh, how do I say this? No, I don't have a direct source right now because, of course, I usually go by the compiled statutes and just the work I've done with children and the work my mother has done with children. So I don't really have a direct source at the moment.
Okay. Maybe another time. I mean, I'd be open to being given a source that says, like, it's been tested that if there's a particular right way to abuse your child, that they won't, I mean, not abuse, to spank your child, that it won't cause harm, but I haven't seen anything of the sort.
Oh,
So,
and can I respond to what's it called? The comment said, "Well, my father thought he spanked me properly, and he still does." Well, you have to do this in the standard of a reasonable person. Would a reasonable person think what you're doing is correct? That's So what an individual father does or individual parent does, that's not really concrete enough because the individual parent might think that putting their child's head in water will make them real. It's like there's a whole lot of stuff that people do that they think is correct in order to discipline their child, but to a reasonable person, it's not, and that's why they go to prison. So it's not.
okay, but who decides what is and is not a reasonable person? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
by the spank your child properly, like,
yeah.
how do you, what does that, oof.
And
What
the
does that mean?
Well, of course, I don't have my book with me that I usually have, but the way that I'm defining a reasonably prudent person is based off the use of torts.
Okay.
So,
So it's fine if you use your hand.
in what way?
Like, let's say spank, for example.
Yeah.
It's fine if you open hand smack your child on the butt. It doesn't really matter, like, how hard they're doing it, as long as the child is not, like, incurring a permanent injury or,
Of
like,
course, I mean,
a
of course,
long-sustaining injury.
of course, it depends on the age of a child. If you have a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, you're not going to hit them very hard in order to correct them. You can lightly tap them, and they'll get the idea. But of course, it just depends on the age of the child and the experience of the child.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen anything that says that there's a particular way in which you can hit your child that would make it so they are not, like, gonna be traumatized or harmed. But I guess I can try and find.
That'd be fine. Yeah, but it's like because of course I don't have any. My books are my books are in the car. I don't have them on me right now, so it just really depends.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming up. I
Yeah,
will attempt to find these.
yeah,
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
yeah. You too. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.
Good.
All right. Let's see. It's 11:20. I think I will continue for another 15 minutes and then I have to do the rest of my fucking hair. So. Hello?
Bro, what are you actually doing with your life, bro? Dead ass.
Are you a child?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. That's not. Honestly, I've been thinking about contacts. I've been considering it. I might do it. I might have to do it. Oh, we got a nonchalant dreadhead. Oh no, I'm not going somewhere after this, Rosie. I just do my makeup for stream. Thank you, Steven. Hello?
Oh, we got a nonchalant dread.
I love you.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting that at all, but okay. You have the other mother as your profile picture, so if you think abuse is okay, I think that would be very telling.
Hello.
How old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
No.
Oh, okay. If you're not 18, please leave. Please. Please? Pretty please. Thank you. Thank you very, 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 very much. Thank you. Oh, that person did not join. You have to be 18 to join the lives as a guest. That is TikTok terms of service. Thank you, V. Laura, I got you. I got you, Laura. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, how old are you?
I am 22. I was born 6/13/02. I did not graduate. I was a junior and I was withdrawn during COVID.
Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
Yes. Because the long-term effects on your child that you, like, neglectful parents do not notice, it takes a toll on their adulthood. And mine was so severe that I lost all, like, form of communication with anything, like, outside of the world I was in my little room.
Oh, damn. I'm so sorry. Abuse is no joke, y'all. I've been trying to tell you. Caro, my friend Caro, who joins me sometimes, the way that abuse affected them, it's...
Yeah. I wouldn't have an issue with it if it wasn't, like, used on me so frequently for every little thing I did wrong. Like, I was my mother's resented child, so I would get hit for everything I did. So I was like, what?
Yeah, that's not... I feel like whenever we use the word abuse, I think people think that spanking as abuse is just... There's a disconnect between the severity, but I think the effects definitely go unnoticed, and I appreciate you giving your experience, my love.
You're welcome. And that guy with the whole red card thing, I had a red in kindergarten, and I came home and my parents were like, oh, so you got a red. And the kid lied to the teacher that I hit him, and I just, like, randomly got hit by my father, and I was like, what did I even do wrong? So I just ran away.
No, that's not... Yeah, no, also, little kids are such assholes sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
that
that's
guy, he hated
absolutely-
me. And I had no idea why. He just hated me.
And you didn't even know that he ended up causing you to literally get hit. Like, that's crazy work.
Yeah, I accidentally put, you know those little building blocks in, like, the 2000s? I was born in 2002, so I was 4. I don't remember. Okay. But I was in kindergarten. They had those building blocks that you'd stack up real tall. I accidentally hit him in the eye with it. And he was like, you hit me on purpose.
Oh, please. Oh my god, ew. But
yeah.
Thank you for coming up, my love, and for sharing your story. I appreciate your presence. And I'll move on to the next guest. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye, my love.
Bye.
Period. I also hate the color charts, Ashley. I was always on green. There was just one day I was on yellow because I was being too loud. There was one person who had, like, a really loud outburst, and they got put on blue, and a teacher was, like, trying to restrain them, and so they were, like, flailing their arms around and stuff. And even as a child, I was like, yeah, obviously this kid is not okay. Why the fuck are we changing their color card? Same. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how old are you?
I'm
And y'all, this might be my last
21.
debate. Okay. Do you think spanking is abuse?
Yes, and I was spanked as a child. I don't remember too much of it vividly, but the last time I was spanked, I remember actually grabbing the object that my mom used to spank me with and snapping it over my knee. Just because I was so done with it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, period.
Period.
Period. W. He said, I'm taking back the power.
Yeah, I snapped it, and she never hit me. And later in life, she was like, hey, I'm really sorry for spanking you when you were a child. It's just, I didn't know what else to do.
I think a lot of people default to spanking because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it's only after I got diagnosed with autism that we started to figure out some of my behaviors are caused by just me stimming. And I actually don't mean harm.
Right. This is the exact shit I was trying to talk about with that one person who was like, I know my child doesn't have autism. Do you?
Do you?
But
It's really hard to diagnose in children that are really young because, you know, all children are really hyperactive during that young stage, and it's really hard.
It really is. Even now, like, as an adult, despite how, like, I excelled in school, I keep getting clocked by other adults with autism for having autism. And I'm like, damn, well, maybe I should get checked out. But no one, when I was a kid, would have thought that I had autism because I was well behaved or I was smart, as if people with autism can't be well mannered or intelligent. Like, it's really weird.
I only got diagnosed in my starter years of high school. So everything I went through till then was undiagnosed, and I would get punished for it.
Yep. Similar thing happened with Caro.
Crazy.
Honestly, like, it's, if you're here and you think that you're beyond getting your child checked out for any particular mental health issue, disorder, or divergency, you're not.
No,
Please get them
and
evaluated.
thankfully my boyfriend and I have already discussed, he has ADHD, I have ADD, so we've already discussed testing our child for neurological disorders and such, because I don't ever want to put hands on my kids for something that could be just them stimming or them having problems with their world.
Exactly.
I want to be that person.
No, literally, my aunt who recently passed, she got diagnosed, because I asked my grandmother, she got diagnosed with autism at 3. Like, it's, you can check. Like, you're never too good to see if your child is okay. I think that's a pretty good way to end off the live, actually, because I don't think I want to talk to any more people who justify abuse today.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I completely understand. And I was verbally abused for almost a year. Thank God I'm out of that situation. Dear Lord. And it's really hard. Even when I talk about the abuse I went under during the church, people that try to justify it, I'm wrapping my head around it. Like, how do you manage to tell a person that trauma isn't real?
Or to justify it and to say, even if it is real, it doesn't matter. Like, that's gross.
It's like, yeah, all people get abused by the church. You're not any different. Why is that? Why?
Yeah.
Why should
That's
that even
fucking
be
gross.
a statistic?
Like, the standard should not be abuse.
Exactly.
Something being normal does not make it okay. I don't think people are ready to, actually handle that. But I think that this was a great note to end on. Thank you for coming up and sharing your experience.
Absolutely. And I've seen you on other lives, especially with Parker, and I just had to come up and say how absolutely wonderful you are.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I don't think that was me. I think that might have been Tashika, because I don't debate with Parker or Dean. I debate with Tashika and Ian.
Oh,
But
yeah, I've seen you on
regardless-
Tashika. My bad.
No worries. But thank you so much. That's very kind.
Absolutely.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, my love.
You as well.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all so much. Okay, so if you did not get a chance to debate me today, thank you for all the roses. Thank you. Follow me or don't and just screenshot my @. I go live basically every day. Usually around like between 6 and 8 p.m. is when I start my lives most of the time. EST. Thank you all for being here so much. It doesn't cause trauma. Yeah, okay. Also, hop into the Discord. It is now complete. It is now finished. We chat in there, we vibe. There's a space for debates. There's a space to share your art if you hadn't had a place to share it. It is 18 plus. However, if you are a minor and you need sources on things like the lesbian topic, spanking, things of that nature, the sources will be put up and you will have the opportunity to look at them if you'd like. But thank you all for being here once again. Thank you to my mods. Also, thank you to Caro for creating the Discord. You can fully draw me as a magical girl. I would be honored. And I will see you all possibly tomorrow, as I'm going to Tashika's tomorrow. So we might do a debate together. We'll see. But anyway, mwah, much love to all of you. Thank you for all of those who have newly followed me. Follow me if you don't already. I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. Also, thank you for all the compliments. You guys are so sweet. And I will see you all tomorrow, possibly.